Chapter 2, 161, Shang Clan Inner City. Translator, Chibi General Editor, Chibi General. Fang Yan paid 200 primeval stones and entered the inner city with Binding Bing. Inner City, although built in the mountain, had wide walking paths that could accommodate 10 horse carts traveling in a line. Once they entered, the crowds became much smaller, less than half of the outer city. But Gu masters became littered everywhere. Rank 1s were all over the place, rank 2 mixed in among them, and occasionally 1 or 2 rank 3s. There were few to no mortals after all. 100 primeval stones were needed to enter. Most Gu master had servants to attend to them, but did not want to waste their money like this. The illumination of the inner city was through a type of charcoal. The charcoal stone could burn for a long time and did not produce smoke. Every 100 steps, Fang and Bai would see a hole dug in the walls, as a bunch of charcoal stones burnt within. Even though the charcoal stone did not emit much heat, with so many of them burning at once, it still caused the inner city's temperature to be higher than outside, and the air to be much drier. Unlike outer city, which had all sorts of buildings, being a complete mix, the buildings here were all of one structure and looked the same, made through a heat-resistant red lava stone. All sorts of paths extended out from the main street. At the same time, every 500 steps, a huge round pillar would appear. There was a spiral stone stairs on the surface of the pillar as it extended upwards, with railings along the stone stairs. Through the stone pillars, people could go up 1 floor, or get to the street 1 floor lower. The inner city was not flat, but was more spherical. From up to down, numerous paths and buildings existed, linking together and allowing one to travel anywhere they wanted easily. Fang Yuan and Binding Bing moved towards a deeper part of the mountain. This was still not their destination. At a certain location, a sentry appeared. The Gu master at work had higher cultivation, as the security of the place was heightened. "Do both of you have a token?" The guard stopped Fang and Bai. Shang clan gave tokens of varied authority to people of different statuses. "This is our first visit," Fang Yuan said. Obviously, he had no such thing. "In that case, it will be 200 primeval stones per person," the guard said. Fang Yuan paid the primeval stones, and the guard let them through. The two arrived at the 4th inner city as a result. Shangliang Mountain had been through a few thousand years of development by Shang clan. The entire mountain was remodeled by Shang clan, digging paths and constructing new buildings, classifying the place into regions. Thus, the inner city was huge. From inner to outer, there was 5 regions. The first inner city was called the Central Inner City, the political heart of Shang clan, and also their military base. The second inner city was also known as the Clan City. Only Shang clansmen could stay here. The third inner city had an elegant environment. With clean and fresh air, it was the high-class zone. Fourth inner city was the middle-class zone. Fifth inner city was the low-class zone. Any further and we get to the outer city, having high traffic flow and all sorts of goods transportation. Compared to the inner city, it was much more chaotic. This construction structure was somewhat like a termite hill on Earth. Termite hills were 4 to 10 meters long, with the termites living within, in small interconnected tunnels, complex and exquisite. Once the two entered the 4th inner city, they could feel more moisture in the air as the temperature dropped slightly. Compared to 5th inner city, 4th inner city was a grade higher. Not only was the entrance fee twice as high, it also had much better facilities. Firstly, light was not provided by charcoal, but by a large number of a specific rank 1 grass gorm. The name is Moonlight Crawling Mountain Tiger. This was a type of vine growing on the walls of both sides of the street. As it spread out, it could be seen everywhere. The roots were deep blue, and the leaves were wide and large, emitting a small blue moonlight. Just one segment of the path had thousands of leaves, as the gentle blue light merged into one. Because of the large numbers of leaves, the air is more humid, and water vapor filled the air. Near the ground, there was mist from the condensed vapor. The moonlight refracted in the mist, turning into an aurora. As one walked on the streets, they had a feeling of walking in a spiritual realm. The buildings here were mostly full of carvings and decorations. Some residents created grass fields and placed flower vats, while others made artificial mountains and pavilions. There was even less people on the streets here. Rank 2 Gu Masters were now the common group after all. 200 primeval stones was a huge sum to Rank 1 Gu Masters. Most evidently, the streets were still noisy in 5th Inner City, but here it was much more quiet. The two continued deeper and got to the city gate. Without a token, to enter the 3rd Inner City, both of you would need to pay 600 primeval stones. The guard's cultivation was already rank 3. Fang Yuan gave the primeval stones and arrived at the 3rd area. This place was different from 4th Inner City yet again. All infrastructure were made using starstones. This type of rock was a widely used material in Gu refinement, able to emit starlight in the darkness. The entire 3rd Inner City used starstones. Not only buildings, but even the walking paths were made of starstones. At one glance, starlight filled the air as vision is clear, without any mist as obstruction. The air was fresh and clear. Looking around, there were pavilions, red walls and green bricks, and even transplanted bamboo forests, famous trees, making an artificial mountain, with spring water flowing as well. The streets had little people, quiet and serene, like a star palace. Truly rich and extravagant, Bai Ningbing slightly assessed. Just the cost of the buildings she could see was an astronomical figure. As the most wealthy clan in the southern border, even Shang clan's leg hair was thicker than normal people's waists. Although an exaggeration, the rumors were not baseless. Shang clan's wealth was like a mountain, in fact. The entire Shang clan city was a literal mountain. Shang clan mainly traded, and that involved the entire southern border. Shang clan's true wealth and asset, no one could make clear of it. But Fang Yuan knew just this 3rd Inner City's construction could match with tens of Gu Yue clan's total wealth. At this place, even rank 2 Gu Masters became rare. Not once in a while they saw Gu Masters, but there were almost all rank 3. This was Fang Yuan's destination. Any deeper, and it is the 2nd Inner City. But to enter, it is no longer a problem of primeval stones. Shang clan's city's token is required, and this token's authority has to reach a certain level. Tongwu Shop. Fang Yuan looked at the plaque before walking in. This was a shop that sold goo worms. 2 esteemed guests, please enter. The attendant was a young girl, walking over and spoke in a soft volume. Her aura was not concealed, showing off her rank 1 Gu Master cultivation. Although Fang and Bai wore mortal clothing, one was ugly while the other was down and out. This Gu Master girl still showed a respectful attitude, displaying her superior service attitude. Fang Yan and Bai Ningbing were brought into an elegant room. This is a private room with wooden tables and chairs, with sculptures and paintings hanging on the white walls. The brushstrokes resembled dragons and phoenixes dancing as the strokes were written with precise strength. Through the window lattice, the garden could be seen, green trees and red flowers along with the chirping of birds. The Gu Master, young girl, brought over 2 cups of fragrant tea and left. Just as she left, an elderly man entered. May I inquire if our 2 esteemed guests are here to buy or sell? The elderly was a rank 2 Gu Master, smiling as he cupped his fists and asked, "Oh, both buying and also selling." Fang Yuan raised his cup as he answered. The elderly laughed, and 2 flashes of light flew out of his body, floating in front of Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing. It was 2 bookworms. Bookworm was a rank 1 Gu worm, but was precious, as rare as the liquor worm. Once one appears on the market, it would be sold instantly. There was often demand, but no supply for it. It was like a silkworm, although it had a head, body, and stomach. 3 distinct parts. Its body looked like a cocoon overall, round and cute. Its body was white, but the surface had a layer of enamel, giving off an oily glow. Holding it in one's hand, it was round and smooth, like a high-grade porcelain vase. The bookworm was a storage-type gu, similar to the tusita flower. The difference was, tusita flower stored physical items, while bookworm stored knowledge and information. Even if it was destroyed, it would only explode into a flash of harmless white light. Please browse through, the elderly goo master said. The two bookworms were refined by him, thus he could easily lend them to Fang Yuan and Binding Bing. Fang and Bai both used a trace of snow-silver primeval essence and injected it into the bookworm. The bookworms turned into a flash of white light, entering the two's forehead, in between their eyebrows. Suddenly, Fang Yuan and Binding Bing gained a wave of information in their heads. The information was like content they memorized, deeply entrenched in their minds. Bai Ning Bing bit her tongue secretly. Tongwu shop sold almost tens of thousands of goo worms. Goo worms of all kinds, causing one to get dizzy from observing the selection alone. Among them, there was bookworm, liquor worm, all sorts of precious goo worms, from low to high, rank 1 to 5. Of course, there was definitely no rank 6 goo. Each goo worm had their specialized introduction to state their uses. There was even accurate prices. Some were priced highly, while rare and precious goo worms even had all sorts of token requirements. This means only goo masters with specific Shang clan tokens had the qualifications to buy these goo worms. Fang Yuan needed to purchase large numbers of goo worms. After browsing through casually, he came back to reality and returned the bookworm to the elderly. Although he had over 10,000 primeval stones now, to purchase all the goo worms he needed, there was still some way to go. Money was not the problem, because some of the goo worms had token requirements. Esteemed guest, what are you interested in? If you purchase in bulk, we can give an appropriate discount. The elderly smiled and said, seeing Fang Yuan and Binding Bing's snow-silver primeval essence, his tone became even more respectful. Fang Yan waved his hand. No rush, I have goo worms to sell. Saying so, he summoned a bone spear goo. The elderly was not surprised. There was many who came to Tongwu's shop to buy, but also many who came to sell. He held the bone spear goo, took a look, and showed a trace of surprise on his face. He had never seen the bone spear goo. Of course he has not. This was a special goo worms made by Greybone Scholar. It had never entered the market. Please enlighten me, esteemed guest. The elderly showed a solemn expression as he cupped his fists. Fang Yuan nodded, drinking some tea. Of course, this is the bone spear goo, a specific lineage of goo worms. I'll lend it to you now. You'll know when you try it. The elderly wielded it at once, remarking, this goo, although rank 1, is not easy to raise, but its attack power is high and is rather unique. It is worth this price. The elderly stretched out his palm, showing a number.